EXIM regulations and the key regulatory bodies in India. So, one by one, we are going to study. Here, the regulatory framework and the compliance means, like, before importing and exporting, there are different, rules and regulations to be followed. It depends upon the different, products, different license available required for that product to export or import any item from other country. So we are going to study which are those regulatory bodies. And first in this we are going to study about the introduction on the EXIM regulations. So here, an introduction part I would like to explain to you all. In EXIM, any of the item or any of the product before exporting or importing, it requires some regulations, that some rules or some certificates or some regulatory taxes to be paid. So here, in EXIM in India, that is the Indian government, for the import and export of the goods or the products, they will ensure that certain compliance are to be followed, that is with the national policies and also the international trade standards. For example, GST and all will be applicable for the goods and services, for certain for all the products. And also they have to pay some international trade standards, that is before exporting any of the product, the product should have they should have permission to export that item to the foreign market. And also, to see on to the regulation, we oversee the bodies such as the Directory General of the Foreign Trade, that is DGFT, and also the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, that is the Central Board, that is CBIC. So here, these two, that is DGFT and the CBIC, they are being designed to facilitate, that is to protect the international to protect the national interest, and also to enforce the taxes, that is the tariff. And also they will make sure that the product are being exported or imported in with good quality. And also they will manage the financial accepts. So here, the regulatory bodies are more crucial, and they will make sure that the process will run more smooth, and it is under the lawful, that is all the rules are being followed from the national and also the international trade operations. So we are going this is about the introduction. Next is we are going to talk about the overview of the product, that is overview of the regulatory systems, regulatory bodies. So first comes as the Directorate General and Foreign Trade, that is DGFT. What does this mean? That is it comes under the Ministry of Commerce, and also the industry, that is that is any of the industry which is the primary authority responsible for implementing and also uh, administrating the foreign trade policies, that is FTP, and the FTP of India. So here, they regulate the import and export issues, where they are responsible for the license and providing the permission to export or import the item. And also they will monitor the compliance with the trade policies. For example, any product which is exported from India to the foreign market, they will also monitor whether the product, what they are being exporting is the correct one, the exact product which is being mentioned. The check of that particular product will be done from the borders of India, and also the borders of the international trade. So here, all the license and also the permission for exporting that particular product and also monitoring the product, this comes under the DGFT. And which is also which is also, it will include for the foreign trade policies as well, like from India, from the national policies and also the foreign policies, both are being taken under place here itself, that is the DGFT, that is the Directorate General of Foreign Trade. Next is about the central body of indirect taxes and customs, that is, CBIC. Here, in this regulatory act, that is, any of the item which is, imported or exported, the Ministry of Finance will oversee to the customs and excise, and also the goods and services, that is, the GSTs. These all things will matter in this CBIC, and here they are being responsible for the custom laws and taxes and the policies, and also collecting the custom duties. For example, any product which is being exported or imported, first they have to pay the GST tax for that particular commodity, and later in this CBIC, they will check upon what are the custom laws, that is, whether they are following, for example, if gun and all or gun parts or any higher permission or license item which is being exported or imported, they will have they will have certain rules to be followed, certain license to be followed. Here it is applicable, that is, CBIC regulatory. Here they are responsible for administrating the custom and the laws, and also the tariff policies. For example, the taxes policies is being followed, and also they will collect the duties, that is, the custom duties are being paid in the CBIC, like the GST and also the other custom duties, like for example, rice, it has only GST to be paid, whereas the liquor or the wine, it or any petroleum or any gold item which is not permitted, it has to have certain license or other license available for that particular commodity. The custom duties are being paid here as well, that is, including the GST and other duties which are to be paid, that includes under the CBIC. Next comes as a Reserve Bank of India. Here, the exchange payment, that is, the exchange of currencies is being done through RBI. That is, when we are exporting certain product from India to the foreign market, in return, after the buyer will provide us with certain amount, that is, after selling one product we will get money, so that particular amount is being exchanged through RBI. That is, certain taxes are being deducted for the foreign currencies, and then it is being paid. There are for different products, there are different taxes, as well as for different currencies also there are different amount to be a deduction of currencies will be there. Exchange of currencies, some amount is been deducted, that is, the exchange rate will be applicable, depends upon the different countries. So here, the exchange of the foreign payments, the exchange of transaction, that is, the payment mechanism, here it is being followed. It comes under the RBI, that is, Reserve Bank of India. Next comes as an export promotion councils, that is, EPCs. That is, EPCs is nothing but it is an industry for specific bodies that has been established by the government. That is, certain industries, they are established by the government, and they government will promote and support those exporters from India. That is, some of the products, like the boat, it is a big company, that is in the electronic company. The For example, government will support and promote this brand for the international, in international market. That is, they will have, for example, an Apple phone which is highly demanded in India. So Indian government will support for the Apple brand to import that particular item, that is, by providing or by giving the other branch offices in India to be to build their company. For example, Google also you all can find in Bangalore city as well, as so that the government will support these type of imported companies, that is, to import their services in India by establishing the offices in India as well. So the government will also support certain products and services which can be imported or exported. So here the support of government comes under the EPCs. That is, the government will promote the exporters of India, and also they will assist the exporters by offering any guidance on the market access, or any industry interest is being required, or any policies. So for example, certain companies, that is, the agriculture products, for the agriculture and the processed food products which are being exports for the development authority. So any item which is, the agriculture product, for example, any food product, it might be the rice, coffee, tea, or any other fruits, vegetables which come under agriculture products, and also the agriculture materials as well. That is, any machinery parts, it has been supported by the Indian government to export the Indian items, that is, the agriculture implements or the agriculture food products, to export the export that particular item. For example, the Nestle brand, like, they are having in Nestle, there are many FMCG products available that can be exported to other country, like, the milk dairy products, or any fish, or any meat items, which are the food items or the food products which can be exported. Government will support these type of government will support, and this comes under EPCs, that is, the export promotion councils. And next comes as a gem and the jewelry, that export promotion councils. For this is like, any of the product which is, the pearls we are having from the sea, we can, get the pearls from the shell. If we remove it from that, aquatic animal, from there we will get different type of gems available. That is, the pearls, or any ruby, or any sort of, jewelry which is available from India. Government will support them to export, and they also promote them to export those type of items from India to the foreign market. Next comes as a mystery of the commerce and industry. Here, like, government will promote that make in India, and also it is, the digital India. That is, these campaigns are being initiated by the government of India. That is, they support make in India, and also they are supporting the digital India. For example, in technology, India has been booming, like, they are supporting the youngsters as well by providing them any visas or any education support from the government, so that they can, learn from the foreign from the foreign universities, and also established some companies, or they can start any of their products, so that the government will support. So this support comes under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, which is, nowadays it is called as a Make in India, and also the Digital India campaigns they are running. Next comes as the Bureau of Indian Standards, that is, BIS. This is, the national standard, that is, the standards of the body of India. They are responsible for standardizing for their standardization, and also certifications, and also the quality assurance of the product. For example, any of the item which is, imported, that is, buying any foreign products, and making market in the domestic area. So those imported products are into the exported from that is, the imported products from foreign country, and then they manufacture in India, and they export to the foreign market. That is, buying the raw materials from the foreign market, and manufacturing it India, and exporting the same product for the higher price. Exporting that product from India this type of support is called as a Bureau of Indian Standard, that is, BIS. They are, conducting different products, different certification. They provide different certification for different products, which includes both in the domestic and the international market. That is, for the domestic market as well, and also the international imported goods. For example, any raw materials is being imported from foreign market. For example, any electronic item, or any company like foreign brand, that is, they required any machinery items from China, or any item which is being required from a foreign market. They import that particular item, and they manufacture in India, and that certification is being provided by the BIS by the BIS regulations is as well. So this is explained in this. Next, we are going to talk about the FSSAI license, that is, the Food Safety and the Standards Authority of India. What does this mean? That is, the FSSAI license is a license wherein, any item from India which has been imported, or any item which has been exported from India, that is, any food items in this FSSAI license is a license wherein, all the food safety measures are being counted counted. That is, the quality of the food should be good, meet the standards of the government standards. And also some foods are being required certain license. For example, any of the beef type of items, like we can't kill any of the plants or any of the animals. So in this way, the company should have certain license for that, and it comes under the FSI license. That is, they should have a certain license that the government, the company, the food, before exporting or importing, it has to have an FSI license to it. Because this is done, this license is there because for the safety and the quality standards they have to meet according to the government. And they also provide inspection and they provide the testers for the imported or the exported food products. Like any item which is which has been imported from the foreign market, that is the food item, it undergoes the the testing, and also the inspection is done for that particular item to reduce the destroy or any harmful to reduce any harmful thing from after consuming. If any customers who is consuming that particular food, they should not be affected or it should not be harmful. To avoid that, the food safety and the standard authority of India, that is the FSI license, should be available before importing or exporting any food product. So next comes as a ministry of environment and the forest and the climate change. Here we are going to in this thing, like the government has came into certain goods which are chemicals or the electronic waste. Electronic waste is nothing but any computer items or any monitor or any glass or these type of electronic related items which are electronic waste. And also the indulged species, that is indulged species are those like nowadays zebra, lion, tiger. These are the rare animals which are found. So these species are being having certain license that they can't export from in like from Australia, the kangaroo and all. We can't import kangaroo easily. They should have certain certain license certification to import or export. For example, in India we are having cow and elephant as thing. These are the rare species found. A cow nowadays we can find now and then, but elephant is also came into such a in such a stage that you can find rare elephants in India. So before importing or exporting these type of animals, the company should have this license, that is the more EFCC, that is the Ministry of Environment and also the Forest and Climate Change. That is it depends upon the any chemicals before importing or exporting. It has to have this more FECC certification or license. So till here, is it clear, guys? I'll wait for a minute. You all can just think. If you're having any doubt, then you all can let me know. Okay, I think you people don't have any doubt. Let me move on to the next one. The next, we are going to study about the key regulatory bodies in India. So here, in international trade regulations, we are having that is, WTO regulations. This is, the World Trade Organization. And here you all can find that is they provide the global framework for the trade rules, including the taxes, the trade barriers, and also any disrupt resolution is being given from this company, that is the World Trade Organization. One of the branch you all can find it in Bangalore city as well. Here this World Trade Organization, it is a company wherein they will make the framework of the trade rules and regulations. For example, in from here in this company, you all will get to know what are the rules and regulations for the trading, for import and export goods and services, which will include the taxes for certain commodities or certain products, and also the trade barriers, that is, we can't export these type of or import any product from India to certain countries. These restrictions, these barriers, everything is everything is there in this World Trade Organization. And also they will in from here, the trade from any of the trading issues or any dispute or any of the barriers will are there, they can reach out to this World Trade Organization company. So next is about the free trade agreement. Here, that FTAs. Here, the country which will enter into the free trade agreement. That is, India has been introduced with this free trade agreement. Here, the country will export or import any of the item which is free trading. That is, no taxes or less taxes has to be paid during the import and export. It is available for certain products, certain commodities which are exported or imported to India or from India. For example, why they are having free trade because agreement, because they are forecasting that is, in future it develops good relationship with the neighboring country, and they also increase the economic growth as well of the country. So here, the rules of in this particular this free trade agreement, they come up with the here, the agreement are like the rules for the free trade agreement is like, any product which is being exported or imported, they are having less taxes or free from trading. Like, the free trade is being given, like any of the product which has been exported or imported, there is no taxes applicable for that particular commodity, or there are less reduction in the taxes, that is, less to be paid to export or import that particular item. Next, we are going to here, we can also study about the custom regulations. Here, the country, it has their own customs and regulations, that is, governing the import and exports goods, which includes the duties, which includes the taxes of import and export restrictions. Like, any of the commodity which has been exported or imported, there are having certain duties, like, certain percentage of amount duties or taxes to be paid before importing or exporting. Next comes as a domestic regulatory framework. Here, in this domestic, we are going to study about the national trade laws. Here, the country has the laws like, to regulate the trade, which includes, that is, the export controls or the import restrictions, and also the licensing requirement. For example, any product which has been exported from India to the foreign market, it had certain products are having certain control, like, they should have certain certification or license. This is called as a control. And while importing any of the item from the foreign market, to make a business to the domestic market, if we are importing any item, that is, which we are buying any item from the foreign market, it has to have certain the company will undergo certain imported restrictions, like, certain products are being restricted, which are banned from India. That is, we are not allowed to use to import that particular item. So, and also there are certain licenses required to import or export any of the commodity. So this comes under the domestic regulatory framework. And also the regulatory authorities, like, any national bodies or any trade compliance, such as the custom authorities or the export authorities, the industry regulatories, like, the pharmaceutical or the food and the technology, these type of regulatory authorities will come under the regulatory authorities, that is, they come under the domestic regulatory framework. That is, any pharmaceutical items, like, any of the medicine item or any of the food item or any technology, they come under the domestic regulatory framework. Next is about exporting compliance. The here, in export compliance, there we are going to learn about the export controls. What is export control? It is, the government will often control the exports of certain goods. Like, while exporting a certain product, the government has its own control on it. That is, the license or the taxes certification. There is a control by the government. And also, it is particular for, like, the national, it is done for the national security purpose as well. As you know, any product which is being exported from India, they will make sure that, the government will make sure that, the excess amount is grown in the domestic, it should not affect the domestic customers while, exporting only to the international market. So there should not be any scarcity for the Indian people, rather than exporting those items. So the government will have control on these particular items. And also there are having certain national securities as well. That is, before that is, the goods or this any of the sensitive technology. For example, any technology or any product which has been exported from India, any technological item, that is, the services, any sensitive technologies, they are controlled by the government. That is, with the government regulations or the national securities as well. They should have certain license, or they should use the end certifications as well. And also the exporters should screen that particular, before exporting that item, they should undergo the screening, and the customers should have an intermediates with the foreign market as well. Next, we are going to learn about the sanctions and the embargo. This is, embargo is nothing but, guys, wherein, any of the any official orders are to be stopped by doing the business with the other country. This is called as an embargo. Embargo is nothing but any product which has been, exported to, any country from India. We are Government will have, due to the government regulations, we can't export certain product to that particular country. We can't make business to that particular country. For example, from India, there are certain products, we can't export it to Pakistan or some other countries. So these are called as embargoes. That is, the government has restrictions that, that particular product is not being exported in that particular country. Apart from that, you can export it elsewhere as well. So here, the this is called as embargoes. And the sections, that is, any compliance with the international and the national sections, like, that certain countries will undergo into this agreement. That is, they don't have transaction, or they don't have any trade with that particular country. That is, there is no trade applicable from India to Pakistan. Due to certain period of time, there was no trading between these two countries. And in such way, this comes under the section and the embargoes. Till here it is clear, guys? Okay, let me move to the next one. The next is about the import compliance. Here, the tariff and the duties. That is, the exporters will also have to pay certain, taxes regulations. Tax regulation is being applicable, which includes, like, paying certain duties and taxes for the for the commodities. And they will undergo into certain taxes, like some of the products are under the free trade agreement as well. So here, the tariff is nothing but the taxes, and the duties is how much percentage of taxes are being paid for the certain commodities, or whether the product is under the FTAs, that is, the free trade agreement. Next comes as a product standard and standards and certification. Here, in this product standard and certification, imported the goods must meet the product standard. That is, any product which is being imported, that is, which is purchased from the foreign market, the product should have good quality, it should meet certain standards. And also that commodity should have certification. That is, the license to some certification or license to import that particular item. And and that particular imported product should be under the safety standards. If it is any of the food item, that is, McDonald's or Domino's, these are the foreign brand, so the food should be safety. it should meet the safety standards, and the quality of the food should be good. And also the labeling requirements, like whatever ingredients are there in that particular item, everything has to be mentioned and it has to be labeled. And it also has to look on to the environment regulations, like the plastic or the material or the packaging what they are using, it has to be environmental friendly. So everything counts under the product standard and certification. Before importing that particular item, the product should meet a certain standard, and they should have certification. They should have the labeling requirements and also the environmental regulations. So next we are going to talk about the documentation and the record keeping. Here, accurate documentation. For example, there should be proper document, that is which includes the bill of landing. Once when the product is being imported, the product should have the bill of landing, that is the payment or the invoice should be there for landing of that particular product. And also the commercial invoice certification, like after purchasing the item from the foreign item, importing that item here in India, it has to have certain invoice certification as well, so that the importer will make a business of it. That is commercially they should be having these type of invoice bills and certification. And also the packaging list as well, like any of the packaging which is whether the company is having to like first packaging will be there to not destroy those that particular item. There will be another packaging for that particular product, so everything will count under the accurate documentation. Next comes as a record keeping. Here the company must have maintained the records for all transaction, like any specific for specific period of time. It has been required by the law for auditing and also the compliance check. Like for example, any product which is being exported or imported, it has to have a required license, so that required all the documents should be the invoice bills or any of the payment done or any contract done between the buyer and the seller. The record should be maintained so that in future to reduce the risk as well. It helps in auditing and also the compliance checks as well. So next comes as patents and non-compliance. Here, the fines and the any product which has been imported or exported, they should have certain for example, fines and penalties. Penalties is nothing but any a product which has not been paid for the payment, or the contract is not been working fine. That is any fine is applicable for that particular product, like without license or without certification, any product has been imported or exported, government will they have to pay certain fines, certain penalties are to be paid for the illegal activities or illegal products. Any product which has been imported or exported, if if they don't have proper documents, if they don't have proper license, if they don't have proper certification for importing or exporting that particular item, the government will check on to certain fines and penalties should be paid to for the illegal activities, as it is it comes under the criminal charges as well. And some of the products which are which are don't have have certain barriers, that the product cannot be exported to that particular country. There are if it is done illegally, government will file a charges or any penalty is to be paid for that particular item or the commodity, and that product is being banned. Like they can't make business, they have to have certain license and also the certification to for making this for having those type of product, making the business openly. Like for example, any drugs and all these type of items, or any illegal woods are being exported, or any animal which is being exported from India to some other countries, and it is being caught by the foreigners or by the Indian government, by the Indian people as well, the people who are checking those items and all, then the product and the business, the government will file certain fines and penalties are to be paid. Next comes under the losses of the trade privilege. This is, any company which is under the losses while import and export, as they are facing any license issue, or any taxes are being huge comparatively, to the manufacturing cost, and they are not making any, that company is not making good profit out of importing or exporting. So in this way, if the company is facing any losses, it comes under the loss of trade privilege. Like, certain companies which are exporting and importing, and they're not making good profit, it comes under the losses. So here they will face the restrictions of trading. Like, they are found to be like under losses for importing and export. So the trade privilege is like, the company are making losses of importing or exporting that particular item. And next is also losses will come under the damages as well. From India, if the product has been shipped, or it has been exported to the foreign market, and in between there are certain damages due to the climatic change, or due to the climatic condition, if the packaging was not good, and if there are damages, that also comes under the loss of trading privilege. So till here we have been completed. If any doubt, you all can just let me know. I'll wait for 2 to 3 minutes, guys. You all can just let me know if you are having any doubt. And once again, if I want, I will just glance you all. So I think that it is clear. Just let me, just tell you all the few things all as well. So just give me a minute. Okay, and there are different license for import and export, and few of the license, like for exporting any of the item, there are different license for before importing or exporting. For exporting, you all can find one of the license, that is the general export license. Here in this general export license, it is the license which will allow for exporting the goods, that is which do not subject any specific restrictions, like any of the good will not fall under the special regulatory categories, like and it is they don't have any taxes or any license. They can just only import this so sorry, they can only export that item, any, it might be any of the rice or these type of items. They don't have any specific license. So this comes under the general export license. Next is about the restricted or the specific export license. Here any goods which has been exported from India, they are restricted to export those items, like for any of the military equipments, or any items which are more confidential. So these type of items which are being exported from India, they come under the restricted or a specific export license has to be there. Next is about prohibited exported license. Here some goods which are being prohibited for being exported, that is which are not allowed to export, which are against the government rules and regulations. Those type of products should undergo a certain license before exporting. Next is about the export license for the restricted countries, like in certain countries from India to export any of the item, it has been restricted. For example, Pakistan, we can't export any of the military items, like any of the war items or war equipments. In this country, it has been restricted, and they should have certain license or any certification for exporting those type of item. Some countries are being banned to export those items. Next is about any export license, that is export any item which has been exported from India. It should have certain quality and standards should be meet before exporting that item, so that it once so that for exporting that item, if it has good standard, if it has good quality, then that particular country or that market will be a repetitive customers for India. That is we can export and make good business out of that, by providing them the standard the product and the quality product as well, by exporting them. And also you all can find a dual use export license as well. In this license they dual use, that is both that particular product has been used as a civil and the military appliance as well. Like any item which is used for the military as well as in the civil, both it has been used, it comes under the dual use export license. Like any product which is used in both the civilian and the military. Next as comes as a temporary export license. In this license it has been the temporary export goods, like any country which we are exporting any item, in return the country should have for certain specific period of time the trading is done. For example, exhibitions or any event or any trading shows, for certain period or certain time that particular item is being well, if in foreign there are certain exhibitions held or certain events are there, or any shows are there, trading shows will be there. So to attend those, the company should have the temporary export license, that their product they can showcase it to the foreign market. So it is done for the temporary period of time, it might be certain hours or certain days as well. So it comes under the temporary licensing. Next comes as a re-export license. Here any of the product which is exporting from India, or importing, re-exporting license, like the goods or the any product which has been exported, they should have certain regulations for to re-exporting that particular item. Like any of repackaged or re packing is done in that, for example, from any product. If we order from Flipkart, first the packaging will be there of the company packaging, and upon that there will be an the Flipkart or the Amazon from which portal we have been ordered that particular item, that packaging will also be there. So this is called as a re-export license. Like, one packaging will be there for the original brand, and also from through which they are exporting, that is, the another package is called as a re-exporting. Then comes as a end user certification. Here, they are not licensed, like, any product which is not the part of licensing. Here, those type of goods or those type of commodities come under the end user certification, like, any typical exporting dual items, like, which are not authorized by the user or the users. So this is called as a end user certification. Next of is the license, which is, the special export license. Here, any of the goods which has been issued, or they fall under the special category, like, any of the culture artificial or the anti equipments or any wildlife product, so they should have certain special license for that. Or any animal or any fruit or any medicine plant, these type of items, or any wine, or any the any of the item which has license, so special, so they fall under the special export license, that, before exporting that item, that product should undergo certain licenses. That product should have certain license for that, to export that particular item, so they fall under the special export license. So till here, am I clear, guys? If you all are having any doubts, you all can ask me. I'll wait for another 2 minutes. Okay. For any business for importing or exporting, they should have certain process is there to followed. First, as I explained to you all, that is Directorate General for the Foreign Trade. The internet is unstable. Just a minute. Okay. So they have to undergo, that is, the DGFT, and the import and export products, they should have certain license before importing or exporting. They should conduct the market research to the demand to which or importing that particular item, they should target certain. Hello, hello, Raksha. I think you raised your hand. Sorry, guys, my internet was not stable, so I was not able to connect properly. Let me repeat. Okay, now it is clear. Yeah, sorry, because I had some internet issue. I would also let you know that for import and exporting, the company should have uh, first it should undergo the directory general for the
Excuse me,
foreign
ma'am.
trade, and also I said
Hello.
earlier
Ma'am,
that
I'm audible?
you know the company should have good market research.
Hello. Call me correct.
Hello,
Yeah.
now it is clear.
Ma'am, actually, your voice is breaking. We are not able to hear you
Is
properly.
it clear now?
Ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, you're audible. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, okay.
Hello, am I audible now? Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Now you are audible.
Okay. So this was about the import and export thing. Like first the company should undergo the DGFT, and later they should study on to the market research in which country what is the demand, and undergo the license, the certification, and also towards the targeted market, and also search on to the contract, the buyers or the sellers, whatever we require, and also and any restricted good, and also check with the, again my internet is unstable, guys. So these are all basic things what I was telling you all, and I'll be sharing the PPT as well. Hello. Yeah, guys, I'll be sharing the PPTs also in group. You all can just go through it. If anybody has any doubt, you all can just ask me, or we shall wind up the class. I hope it is clear to all. So let's wind up, guys. Have a good day. Okay, thank you. Bye, ma'am.